she's right there. Got her.
Got one, Seth?
Yeah, I got one, John. Oh man, she's right up against the rocks.
I'll run down there, Seth.
Well, folks, it's the start of day 2. Weather cleared for us. We got quite a bit of snow up on the mountain last night. This particular hole here, I couldn't quite get the fly rod going, so I picked up the bait caster and the drifter. And we just drifted into this hen right here. John's gonna go down and see if he can get her.
If she'll stay there, I'll move right over.
We're gonna get back after it today. We got some more fly spots coming up, but this one here was just one in particular. I couldn't really work with effectively with the fly rod. That's the good thing about having 2 techniques. There's always a situation for one or the other. Got her, John? Right there, John.
Yeah, there we go. Oh,
easy, buddy. Don't fall in. Got her?
Yeah, you got her.
All right, beautiful fish.
Got a real pretty fish down here.
Quick look at her, and then we'll send her back. Right there, guys. Beautiful hen. All right, girl. Let's get you back. She's ready.
There you go.
There she goes. Whew, that water's cold this morning, Johnny.
It is. Good job, Seth.
Thanks,
right
buddy.
off the
Appreciate
bat,
it.
Man. Right off the bat.
Yeah, I had to put down a fly rod. We couldn't quite drift through here that well with that, so we had to go to the side drifter for a little bit.
Well, it shows it. You can kind of choose the hardware
That's
you
right.
want to use and whatever you enjoy doing.
That's right. Have a little diversity in the box, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can't get another one.
Angler's Xperience is proudly sponsored by Crestliner, leader by innovation. Setter Rods, the American way. Sidewinder planer boards, fight the fish, not the board. Tobler Marina, your one-stop boat shop. Easy Loader, all boat trailers are not created equal. Oxart, your single source supplier. Lincoln Electric, the welding experts. And Honda Marine, it's all about power.
Boy, she's trying to get under that log, Seth.
Right behind that stump, huh?
Yeah.
Classic spot. Nice fish, John.
Boy, it's
Oh,
trying
she's
to get
ready.
back already. She's ready.
Yep.
We'll get her right back in.
Look at that fish, guys.
You leave them in the net like that, they really don't even realize they've been caught.
You know?
Nice fish. We'll get a quick look at her.
Beauty.
Let's just get her right back in the water.
She's ready. Look at that power right across. Awesome. Good
Thank
job,
you,
John. Right off that stump. That's a classic spot, guys.
Boy, she was trying to bury back in underneath.
Trying to get into that brush there.
Yeah.
Classic spot, folks. Steelhead are just like cutthroat, rainbow trout when you're fishing small streams. They love that wood structure. John snuck up and behind here, right up behind that stump. There's a little bit of a dish right there, and that fish is resting right in that dish. Classic spot. Good job, John. Score 1 for the Sammy.
1 for the salmon.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
I want to take a second here and talk to you a little bit about the lures that we're using, or the presentation that we're using, more fitting. What John's doing right here, folks, is just a corky and yarn setup. What we've got is 2 size 1 octopus hooks tied on snells. In between there, we've got a corky. This is a medium-sized corky, And then we've got some chartreuse and pink yarn put into the egg loop on that snell knot. That's the rig that John's throwing. It works great for the steelhead just about year-round for us down here in the wintertime. What I'm doing, and if you're noticing, the fly is picking up a little more fish. And I think what it has to do with is it's a little bit smaller presentation. And with the fly not having the dropper weight on it, I'm getting a smoother roll through the hole. I'm making a better drift through the hole than you are with this setup right here with the dropper weight. But that's the lash up that John's using right there. Now what we're using, you're hearing me talking about chenille buggers. Basically, this is the chenille buggers that I have in my box that I use for the steelhead fishing, and they're really dependent upon what time of the season it is. The one that we're using right now is a chartreuse chenille bugger, just like this, and it's a real simple fly. It's just got a marabou tail. It's got a lead underwrap on it to give the fly a little bit of weight. It's got a chenille polymer overlap over that lead, and then it's just got some crystal flash at the head. Very, very simple. But when I select my colors, what I'm basing it on is what I'm trying to accomplish. We're coming out of winter right now, first part of March. These fish are just starting to move out of those deep holes because the water's starting to rise and it's starting to get dirty. Well, they're not getting on the beds and they're not spawning right now. So what you want to do is I'm looking for something that's going to stand out and it's going to make them mad, because keep in mind, they're not eating anything. They're just striking out of aggression, that's it. So with the water being a little bit stained like we're having, I want to go with a bait like this chartreuse. It's going to stand out, it's going to get their attention. As it goes by them, they're going to strike out at it just because of that color. Now as the season progresses, that's when your colors are going to change. And I kind of laid out the progression here for you. When you get up there and the fish are starting to get near spawn, or there's always fish, even this time of year, folks, we're seeing fish that are bedding. I mean, they'll go all spring long. When the river shuts down is when the major spawn takes place, and we like to leave those fish alone. But what happens, you want to tailor your presentation to what's going on in the river. So right now we've got muddy water, we don't have a lot of fish dropping eggs, so there's no reason to use an egg pattern. I'm using a bright flashy color just to make them mad. If I was to come back down and see more fish on the beds and there was more eggs in the river system, what you want to do is you want to go to this red. This red is the same thing as a chenille bugger, but it represents a fresh egg, okay? As the season progresses and you get more and more eggs in the system, that you're getting new eggs mixed with old eggs, you go to the pink. And then as it goes on later in the season, the eggs that are in the system start to become lighter colored, if you'll call it. And what you do is you just start making that switch down. There's kind of a peach color, and here's an old washed out egg right here. Just like when you're using egg side drifting, you'll see this pretty much happen. You'll have pink where the eggs are holding, and then to the tail out where the eggs have dispersed, it'll just be white like that. But that's the progression that we make right there. We're trying to make them mad, not a lot of fish dropping into the system, chartreuse. As they start to drop, we just progress through that color chart just like that. But that's your color chart. As the season goes on, you just want to tailor right down towards that end with this guy right here. Chenille bugger. Very simple fly, guys. If you're not a fly tyer, they're very easy to tie. Most of your fly fishing shops will have them. We're just pinching the barbs down on them, throwing them out, and the steelhead are loving them. Simple, simple rig right there.
Oh, there's one right there, guys. There's one.
Pull from different directions, folks, it'll move them different ways. Pulling behind your head, if I pull forward like this, all you got to do is turn against her body and angle out. If I pull back, that makes her angry like that, but it'll actually pull her to the side faster if you change your angles. Always change your angle up with the fly rod like this. Always try to pull from behind their head to get them turning.
They're almost like planer boards.
Yeah, it is.
Boy. This current.
Man, she does not want to come in here. Look at that. Man, I'm pulling hard. She just got her head down. There we go. All right, John, don't get your feet wet, buddy. Man, she's got some energy to her, that's for sure. All right, John. All right, she's gonna turn right now, right now.
Man, get on that log, Seth.
Well, John, then we can do is just go down a little bit further here.
Yeah, if we get over where there's not a shelf.
All right, she's coming at us now. There she comes. All right. Try to stay right over your shoulder, John. Watch your face for that fly. Point it away from you here. Okay, backing her up, backing her up. Oh. There you go, buddy. That's a nice fish there, huh?
It's heavy.
More her here, guys. See the chenille bugger right there, corner of the mouth, guys. Right there. Little fly is doing wonders right today. All right, folks, let me hop her up here so you can see her real quick, and we'll get her right back out. Right there, guys. Well, she's thick.
Yeah.
Look at that. Boy, that's a beauty. Right there, guys. All right, let's get her back in the water. Let her revive for a minute. She'll take off like a rocket. Squeeze her tail. Going here. There she goes. Little tail squeeze and away they go. All right, Johnny. That water's cold, buddy.
It is very cold.
Man, it's cold. Holy smoke. Well, let's see if we can't get up to another one. John? Keep him tight, John.
Yep.
Keep him tight. See if I can get down the bank here without dying.
Try and keep his head up. Trying to
Where
get
you
his
at,
head
John?
up, Seth.
Huh?
Trying to get his head up, and I'll see if I can
Okay.
get it into you there.
Kind of a dangerous zone down in here. Big boulders and all kinds of trash.
Yeah, it could break me off real easy right there.
Nice fish, John. Beautiful fish. Oh, man. Walk towards me, John. Walk down if you can. There you go. There you go. There she goes, back out in the river.
Okay.
Lots of beautiful fish, John.
One more. One more. One more pump here. Okay. Try and slide her back. Got it. Good shot, Seth.
All right. All right, John. Grab him up, buddy. Keep him easy on the rock. You don't want to hurt him. There he is. Well, he's ready to roll,
he's
ain't
ready
he?
to head back. Let's let him get him back.
Let's see here. Show him the camera. Zoom around, John. There you go, folks.
Nice fish.
Beautiful, beautiful buck right there. All right, Johnny.
Okay.
Let's get that dude back. He's ready. Look at that.
Goes. Picked his way right out.
Yep. After all that fighting, man, he still had the power to power right back out into that current, man. An amazing fish.
Thanks for hustling down
You
through
betcha,
the
buddy.
rocks
No
for me.
problem. All right, good deal. Day two's looking good.
Looking good.
Folks, conservation is one thing that I'm a huge conservationist. I like to go out and if you watch the show a lot, you know we pretty much release everything that we catch. And it's not so much because I don't eat fish. I do. I love fish. But for one, when you do it for a living, you're around all the time, I'd rather eat a steak. But, you know, I'm looking out. I just had a daughter. She's about 6 months old. And I'm thinking about her, and I'm thinking about my grandkids and what resources they're going to have when they get to be my age or older. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so pro in the conservation of catch and release. And catch and release has to be done properly, and it's really, really important with the steelhead. These areas that we're fishing, we see a lot of times people pulling them out, they're snagging them, they're keeping them when they're snagged. We see them fishing, snagging fish off of beds. Those are just unethical practices. And what you got to think about is think about the future. Don't be greedy and think about right now. And if you are doing catch and release, it needs to be done a certain way. And what I mean by that is the fish has to be handled properly. Whether the fish is native or non-native, it needs to be handled properly. And especially the steelhead. You know, I've had some emails come in, people say, well, what difference does it make to release them? They're going to die anyway. Well, maybe that fish hasn't spawned yet. That's the importance of it. And when we're doing the catch and release, there's a couple things that I like to do. I like to use a little bit heavier line than normal, especially at this time of year when they're getting towards the end of their journey. We want to bring them in as fast as we can. Typically, you know, in the fall time when they're real feisty, I'll run 8 to 10 pound tests when the fish are bright. and we'll play them out a little bit and bring them in. But when they're starting to get to this part in their life, when their fat reserves are starting to get low and they're getting tired, you want to bring them in fast and you want to release them fast. So I always use a little heavier line, keep the drag a little bit tighter. I don't want to mess around with them. I want to get them in, show them to you folks at home, admire them myself, and get them right back out in the water. And you'll see these fish, this water's cold and they're taking off right away. One of the things that I do when I'm practicing conservation is I use a net. And I've done a couple steelhead shows in the past, and I had some people who are real strong conservationists for steelhead, which I totally appreciate because they're the ones that are looking out for the future of the fish. But one of the mistakes that was made was people were giving me some grief about the net I was using. And it's just because on TV you can't always tell exactly what kind of net I'm using. That's just the nature of television. So I want to clarify what net we're using, because when you're doing catch and release, and if you're using a net, it is very, very important to use the proper style of net. Now what I'm talking about, these are both Loki nets that I'm going to show you, but the first one is a traditional style right here, and I've taken the handles off just so they're a little easier to handle in front of the camera here. But this is a traditional net. This is what you typically see. Sometimes you'll see these with the green nylon. Well, this is a nylon knotted net, and if you notice the deep pocket on it, if you're going to keep fish, this is fine. But what happens with this nylon net like this is, one, the first danger is when that fish goes into this net with all these knots in this nylon cord, it takes all the skin and scales, or the slime and scales, off of their body. And the other thing that happens that most people don't even think about is when a fish gets into a net, they want to twist. And as they start to twist and roll up into this net, they'll actually break their back. And that's something a lot of people do not realize that happens with a net like this. So what I do, if we're salmon fishing and we're going to keep some salmon, this net's fine. But if I know I'm going to catch and release, I want to show you what style of net I'm going to use. This net right here is also a Loki net, but it's a certified catch and release net. The first thing that you'll notice is the basket is not big and deep. It's more of a dish inside. What that does, it allows a cradle for that fish to sit in so it doesn't twist and break its back. The other thing it is it's a very thin mesh, and there's no knots in this net. It's knotless. The material is not going to remove the slime because of how it's built. It's flat instead of round. So now we're going to net that fish, and I don't pick the fish up out of the water. If you're watching, you notice that. I don't pick them up out of the water. I just net them to secure them, and then I allow them to lay in the net while I'm taking the hook out, and I can pick them up to show them to you folks at home and release them. Now, if you look at the nets side by side, this is what I want you to think about next time you go to buy one. See that difference right there? This net's going to take the slime off. It's going to remove the scales. They're going to break their back. This one here, you're going to be able to put them in the net, not remove the slime, and you're not going to hurt their back. Now you may be saying, Seth, why don't you just land them by hand? And folks, there are times when I will land them by hand. I've done steelhead shows by myself where I had to use my hand. I can get away with it at times. I've got fairly large hands. You know, the John that I'm fishing with, his hands aren't as big as mine. And the problem that happens that I see a lot of times, people not using nets, that fish is out there thrashing around and they're trying to grab it and trying to grab it and trying to grab it. And what you're doing is you're creating a lot more stress on that fish. The other thing I see happen is guys will back up the bank and drag them right up on the shore and onto the rocks. That's a big, big no-no. Those fish start slapping around. It only takes one slap on the side of a rock and that fish is injured. By netting them and keeping them in the water and reducing the amount of stress on them by just picking them up briefly after you take the hook out and sending them back, that's what you want to do to make sure that that fish goes out and reproduces for the future. So just keep that in mind, folks. If you're going to do the conservation, let's do it right. Use the proper net, handle those fish properly. Oh, there's one right there. There's one, John.
Got one on?
Yep, got one.
Right there. Be right there. Grab the net.
Reel here. I'm pulling hard here. Keep butting on. Watch your eyes.
A little closer and I'll get it. And I'll catch her coming, or him coming back.
You got it, Johnny.
Whoa, no we don't. Didn't have a good angle there. It come right against the grass bed.
You can see where somebody snagged him underneath. He's rolled up around. I got him twisted right now.
There we got him.
All right.
Okay.
All right, folks. This guy here is a warrior. chenille buggered out of there. He's got a hook underneath him too where he's been snagged before. Old hook. All right, buddy. Tell you what, John. It's been a heck of a 2 days on the
It's
river,
been a
huh?
lot of fun, hasn't it?
Fly pole, bait caster, however you choose to do it. It's all fun, isn't it? Let's hold this big fish
A lot
up
of
here.
fun.
Let's hold him up here real quick. Right there. Go, guys. Look at that beauty. What a hog. Absolute beauty on the fly pole, guys. Tell you what, folks. Let's go ahead and slide him back in the water. Get him back here. Be ready. See you, buddy. There he goes. Look at him powering right across that stream. You have a good time, John?
Had a great time, and it's fun seeing you get them on a fly rod, and I'm doing it my normal way with the level wind, and
It's all fun. That's all that matters.
it
right?
all works.
Yep, definitely. All the fish got away unharmed using the catch and release net. We landed 18, 19 fish, lost probably 6 or 7 fish at least. I tell you what, folks, it's a good time with a good friend. Always remember, if you got a fish that you want to have mounted, send it to my good friend John Bambasino with Pro Fish Art. And I tell you what, they will do beautiful taxidermy work for you. We'll put the website up for you to go and look at. John, I want to thank you for having us down.
Thank
It's been a
you,
great
Seth.
2 days, buddy.
It's been a lot of fun, a lot of
A
fun.
lot of fun. What do you say we get the truck loaded up
Yeah,
and head for home?
okay.
Folks, I want to thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you next week.
For a list of today's gear and techniques, log on to axfishing.com and select AX Journals.